way it does. Honestly, for me, it reminds me of the San Diego Mall. But one thing about Mall is that, and we were talking about this at the Caster Airbnb, we didn't think we were going to see it. We thought this was going to be a guaranteed ban. We didn't think Mall was going to show up today. But here we are. We finally made it. We finally made it to Mall.
The Mall commonly gets banned. I think a lot of teams are still figuring out how exactly they want to approach it, how comfortable they are, and honestly, they even prefer it. But we saw other maps like Arctic, other maps like Ship, where it wasn't heavily favored when it first came out. I think maybe, what was it, Arctic might have been the exception there. But after the rework, which gets used all the time now in games. And it's great to see, honestly, a lot more, I think, variety in the map pool.
Oh, definitely. I'm very glad that Breachers' map pool has expanded out as far as it is. Having 7 maps at your disposal, yes, you can ban a couple, but you need to still know every single map because these bans aren't going to be the same. Sometimes a map that is not usually played is going to end up being played.
Yeah, as shots coming out here from both sides, IvI and Valor finally getting into it here. Only 30 seconds to the round, so we can see already aggression from these teams.
We do see the beginning picks coming out, but it looks like IvI is going to take this a little bit more cautiously. They're just still looking for any damage that they can cause, any early damage, any early picks to try and get them a good purchase into these catalyst areas. Crimson hurt a lot. Proxy finally finding the kill, and there we go. The man advantage swings over to IvI, and Swift finds a second, Ash finds a third. It is 2v5. Sleepso on a sliver of health.
Sliver of, health indeed here, as we only have 2 players left on the Valor side. 2v5 will be challenging for this defense on how they fight back against IvI. Again, not impossible. We've seen some aces come out already. We've seen some amazing ones come from these 2 teams here.
And we see the entry beginning. Flash is coming out. Smoke's coming in as this 5 stack of IvI looks to find their last hit that they need to get into sight.
That is shots coming out here from Proxy, knocking out Wound, leaving only ITAP to their own devices here in a 5v1. Flawless attack by the IvI players. I'm looking a little nervous already for Valor. It's only round 1.
I mean, first round, yes, the pistol round is important, but it is nothing to call the entire rest. For instance, I mean, even that first half, we had a 5-1. Yeah, I am. But even on that first half of the last one, it was a 5-1, and it turned into a 7-5. Like that does not mean that this is over.
Not over indeed, right? It just helps impact their economy. It helps them figure out, well, how do they want to approach the upcoming rounds here? We're seeing some economy choices being made by both IvI and Valor. We'll see how that does develop their upcoming strategies for this round 2, because we have so many more rounds for this one. That first map is to go off, because, I mean, we went almost to overtime, and I'm expecting to see some great competition between both of these teams. Again, Valor is on the hook at this point. They gotta get map 2 to force this into a map 3. Otherwise, IvI's gonna be able to win this one out in a 2. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been seeing a lot of done in 2 games here at the time.
I know, it's been very surprising. I mean, all of these finals have come down to just like by the wire per map, but we have yet to see a full, like, completely played out best of 3. We saw a mostly played out best of 5 by Onward, but nothing best of 3 so far. Oh, and we see early wall damage going out onto Wound. That is unfortunate, just bad position, bad luck. But he moves back, is able to save his life, and shore himself up.
Yeah, Swift for these blind fires here, getting some hit markers. We'll see if they can capitalize on that as he continues really denying the zone for the time being, and seeing if they can go forward here for this. 30 seconds around, they have a lot of time, and Crimson knocking out Sleek, so not expecting to run out there, but they got a beautiful, beautiful swing. As the Dusty picking up another one. Ash with that refrag in the end there, leaving out just 3 versus 4. IvI now struggling with previously a flawless attack. Not quite flawless anymore.
Hey, you gotta look at that though. Valor, every one of them is hurt except for Jims. Some people are really low on health. Some people are not so low, but we still have 3 people over on IvI's side that are looking pretty dang good. Grenade comes out, doesn't quite find anybody. Valor's defense, though, they look like they know exactly where they need to be. They've got some good crossfires going on, good angle coverage.
That indeed, as we are seeing some hold from this team. Jim goes up for the run. This is Seattle to their left as that refrag works out very much in their favor. Couldn't quite get those shots off, leaving just Ash and plunge left now against IVI and wound. The time is counting down. It's a minute left. Not too much pressure, but it's going to start stacking up in just 30 seconds. Valor's got to be very careful with how they approach this.
Definitely so, definitely so. That 2v2 though, I mean, that damage that came in early is going to come into effect. Ash putting that oral to work again. This man looks like he's using a Vezin the way he's using, like the way he's putting down kills. It is impressive what he can do with that thing.
Yeah, no, at this point in the round, you're wondering, do they go in for a save? Do they play it out? We'll see how IvI decides to make this plan develop here as Valor is going to make some own defensive choices in 20 seconds now, counting down utility coming out, and I think they know what they're going to be doing for this approach. 10 seconds left. They got to make some decision at this point as Plunge and Ash now finally going in for the plans. How is Valor going to go for the retake? They have a little bit of time here, but not too much, as both sides have to figure out how to approach this one. Shots coming out from both sides already.
This is such a contentious little situation. The health really coming into effect.
You know, they got the flawless attack last round. They got now an ace in the pocket. This is the second ace.
Yeah, Swift had an ace on the first map in the first round. This is the second ace we've seen out of IvI today.
I was talking with some of the casters earlier where we didn't quite have that many aces. There were some times we got to 4 picks on a lot of other games like in Vale we had just seen in the previous set of matches, but no one quite got that ace, and yet we already got 2 from a team here. I mean, this is game 1 and 2, already aces coming out, and we know how it is. Aces are so difficult to achieve because to be able to knock out every single player on the enemy side is hard to do, and that's exactly how to get those aces in. I mean, we're seeing IvI do really good right now.
This is top tier gun skill. There was a reason that IvI was able to win season 3 of VRML. These are insane players who work extremely well together, and they're showcasing it here today for us live.
I mean, the IvI Esports Forum, we talked so much about their history, how much they've done in the community, not just in NA, but also the EU side of things. So they have a huge name to hold up to, and as we can see, that training arc has done a lot of work for them. Because I remember in qualifiers, they didn't look so hot.
No, they weren't having the best day in the world, yes. But they're coming out, they're showing that was a fluke. They're showing what they are actually capable of, especially in this LAN environment. They are showing that the pressure doesn't cave them, that they are able to respond in time. IvI though, shutting down Ash after that ace, giving an early man advantage towards Valor.
That indeed here is IvI, only now with a 4v5 Valor, having some great attempts here from both sides. We'll see if they can make some kind of push at some point, but a lot of utility being used already as they need to figure out how to approach the upcoming engagement here. And Swift does go for the swing on Crimson, knocks him down for the count. Looking great right now.
And we do have a 3-3 right now. Sleetso still a little bit hurt. Adapt, taking out another person. That is Proxy down. It is a 2v3. Sleetso getting that wall prepped. And Adapt already calling it, getting ready.
They're waiting for this breach. They're waiting for this attack. They go for the breach, not quite getting any damage out here. Adapt trying to go for some blind fires, but not landing anywhere. A minute left in the round here. Both teams having to figure out how to hold this defense, how to fight back. IvI having to be very careful about their approach.
Yeah, and I mean, especially with the damage that's been already done, this is going to be complicated for IvI to work for. It's already a man disadvantage. If there's a health disadvantage on top of that, it's difficult, it's hard. But these are players that can pull this off. Maybe the weapon, the slight weapon advantage they may have might come into effect, but as we've said previously, the SMGs are nothing to sneeze at anymore.
Not anymore. They've been used so many different ways. You're getting so much different damage. I remember back in the day, round 3 used to be the dedicated, round 2 and 3 used to be the dedicated assault rifle rounds. Well, with those economy changes, we're not quite seeing that anymore, right? We're seeing a lot more variety in guns, whether we're seeing SMGs, whether we're seeing Vezins, and everyone has to learn how to be effective, not just on assault rifles, but across the board here. As we can see, 10 seconds on the clock. Some choices are being made from Valor, some choices being made by IvI, and I think we can all figure out what is going to be happening at this point as the time is counting down here.
Definitely smart. Definitely smart. And we do see a Thrifty coming out. That being that the team that won the round spent half the money of the other team, or that the other team invested in the round. Basically, you spent half the money, but still came out with the win.
Yeah, I mean, now they're doing a really good job there, and we can see, some of the players saying good job there. And finally, that's exactly what they needed. IvI has been really on a hot streak because they did so well in map one, able to fight that back out and prevent the overtime. And having 2 rounds back to back here, they were setting up to be so well. I was almost expecting a third round coming out of IvI. Didn't quite happen there.
No, not quite. Valor did an extremely good job with those opening picks that Jim's got to really hurt that offense of IvI. They were able to slow it down, get the early min advantage, really soak in the damage, throw them off, put the pause in that they needed.
They did get that pause as IvI will be getting set up for this upcoming round here. 2-1. Of course, they have the advantage for the time being. We've seen Valor though give an amazing fight. So again, I expect it to go back and forth, but we're not quite seeing the same thing that we had seen on map one, right? We saw a definitive half by IvI. Yeah, this one's a lot more contentious, right? They're going back and forth, and it's only the first half. We're not even the second half yet where we get a side split between these two teams.
No, not even yet. But we do see a little bit more of a cautious setup from IvI as they had their hiccup. They're looking to make sure that doesn't happen again. Valor still giving us the same heavy, well thought out defense that they showed off earlier.
Yeah, I'm ready to see if they can approach this differently. As a trip by knocking out Proxy, they were not ready for that from Crimson. That's going to be a great pick for the IvI players. I mean, Proxy's a player I've called out many times for being an amazing entry fragger. I've said this so many times on cast, and unfortunately, that entry fragger has been knocked down by a trip by.
On the beneficial side, Proxy did only have a pistol, so that is not the worst thing in the world for IvI. But it doesn't matter. They still haven't quite gotten the ground that they need for a good site push. But we do see the round progressing. We do see space changing hands as IvI looks to get a site hold.
And I love seeing these players, how they approach every single site, how they switch things up round after round, because remember, they are adjusting their strategies here in Spring Zone. Getting shot there by Dusty. So close. I thought something else was going to happen there, but it didn't quite happen in the end, as we're seeing some choices from these players. Yet 4v5, a lot of time has been wasted. Think about it, IvI has wasted a minute and a half into this round, not really gaining much ground here. We were talking about all these catalyst spots. Have we seen that yet come out from IvI?
I mean, some of they have not gotten any control of the spots they really necessarily need in order to get a purchase into sight. And just Valor is holding some beautiful angles, really making it difficult for IvI to get a purchase in. And we do see damage coming out. We see wall being blown. The entry begins. Plunge takes out Wound. And Iodine gets the refrag, gets a second hit, his kills everywhere. Valor has gotten their second point. We are tied up 2-2.
I was wondering how they were going to approach it. It's crazy being here at Atlanta. You can hear them literally get the countdown for the breaching. 3, 2, 1. I hear the blow. They go in for the shots. They did knock down one of the players there, but that retake, they didn't quite have the plan, but it's still a site retake by Valor. Went so well for them. They knocked down player after player there. 2-2 equalized. Finally, these two teams, and this is the first time we've seen Valor, besides obviously 0-0, be tied up with IvI. This might be the chance they can finally get their first lead in this series. Remember, that one is very definitive first half by IvI.
Definitely so. But again, Valor is showing that they got the jitters out. They're getting into it. They're getting ready to show us what they can actually do. They want to show that 5-1 fluke was just a fluke. But IvI is still looking fantastic. They still have the opportunity to take this into a 2-0.
They definitely do, indeed. I want to see them win out this first half, really potentially win out map 2 here. But we've seen IvI perform so well, so I wouldn't be shocked if they can't do that. But you know me, I'm a sucker for a map 3. I'm a sucker for a map 3. I'm a sucker for an overtime, because I love seeing the teams fight it out to the very, very end, as long as they possibly can, because as a caster, I would put on a great show, and I'm going to give the viewers as much game time as they possibly can see here.
Well, nobody likes watching a blowout. That's boring as heck.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that indeed. Shots coming out here already by the Valor squad as IvI again having to approach the same floor. Are they going to approach the same way?
It looks like that is going to be another cautious approach. They're going to look for their opportunities first before they try and capitalize on anything. Finding that opportunity in the name of gyms.
Jim is not quite expecting that long, deep roamer there, as the Valor squad having to readjust their defenses against IV. For the time being, shots coming out there from Crimson, not landing as well as they had hoped here. But Valor now having to retreat and go for some other angles against IV, as Crimson getting some shots there.
We do see that damage coming out. IV is being a lot more measured on this. They know that they can't just barrel roll in like they would possibly want to. But this measured side of IV that we see, this is what comes in from that chemistry. They're able to think on their feet. They're able to react to how a team is playing. They're able to reassess and rejudge what they need to do in order to get those rounds back on the table.
Shots coming out there on Proxy. They weren't quite expecting the player to be around the corner. Crimson almost catching out some of these IV players. They were so close to getting right into the action there, as Valor holding this defense. Again, time is really being burned out. I've noticed this for IV. I'm not sure if their setups are longer or Valor's just really drawing out this defense. As Crimson on the back getting shots there, they were not expecting Ash. Or sorry, other way around.
No, completely fine, but Crimson seals him off with smoke, making sure that he's ensured safe. But it's not over just yet. It looks like the engagement continues as Crimson takes out one for a second. And now the man advantage has fallen. It is no longer in IV's favor. It is in Valor's. Wound taking out another. It is a 2v4. That is not how I thought this round was going to go at the beginning.
It looked like it was going the way of IV, but Valor's been doing such a good job at fighting back against them. They weren't expecting Crimson being such a thorn in the side on the back, and he finally knocked out by Sleetzo, as they are probably breathing a sigh of relief for the IV squad, but they're still down. The man disadvantage again with the time. I don't think I've seen that in a hot minute. No!
I have not seen a round go to time in a second. Did we even see that in the calls? I feel like
I don't think so. It was a save, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't like truly time.
Yeah, no. I mean, a save, it is a save. Nobody considers that an end by time, but like, where you have just wasted so much time that the enforcers completely forget that there's a clock. That is Valor doing their work correctly. Crimson was being a massive menace on that staircase, denying any further pushing and just being a thorn in the side of IVI.
Yes, so much time wasted by those numbers. That's why I think it's so important who you place on roaming. They have to have great game sense, know when to approach some of these sides and approach a lot of the players on the attacking side, because they want to really draw out and force so much time in that round wasted. And we saw that from Crimson there. I mean, so much time wasted just trying to hunt them down, and every time they got a lot of value from picks. Yeah, I think 2 or 3K in the back there, and eventually they did go down, but they wasted, I think, a good minute and a half just with them alone.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, that's how you do. That's how you run a good defense. You still keep so many people alive that you just are able to run out the clock. You are just able to so thoroughly deny an attacking force from being able to get in that they just can't do anything. That is very, very well thought out defense.
Well thought out defense indeed, as IV now approaching their last attacking round here for this half. We'll see how they approach this 3-2, maybe going into a 3-3 or a 4-2. This is the first time we've seen a lead come out from Valor, and they did a great job going into that lead. But can they maintain this lead? Can they keep this momentum going forward into that second half?
I mean, there's a lot of util that they're going to have to deal with. Valor has gotten a chunk of money that they can utilize for anything. And it's not looking the most generous on IV's side right now. But we see Proxy taking some damage through a wall, not quite getting killed, but not quite taken out of the game.
Yes, good damage coming out from the Valor side as they try their best to really hold this defense down. Again, look, a minute being burned already for IV. No ground really gained yet by them. I'm wondering, what are they thinking? What's going through their mindset right now? What did Valor do on that break? Because they're doing really good on this defense as they have Crimson on the back end getting shots. But that is not going to be what comes out the perfect moment for Jims there.
Ooh, and we see a second one going into Plunge's hands. Dusty going down. 4v2 right now. It looks like this might turn into a 3-3 even side swap. But Wound and IADAP, 2 players who have really strutted their stuff in the last map, are still up and still a danger.
doesn't get any closer than this. We might be going to a 3-3, and I want to see this. You know, I'm a sucker for an equalizer here, as IvI does get the free throw out there for against that Valor defense, as they're trying to best really hold down against the utility. As the flashes come in, ringing out, shots being traded, really not going out.
And there we go. 3 alive still on IvI side as they go into the second half. Now they get defense. Now, Mall, I feel like, is another one of those maps where it's depends on the site. I feel like overall it's a little bit more defensive sided. More floors are defense sided. Only one really feels even. I feel like it's the middle floor, but this might be where IvI can pull a little bit more ahead, or Valor, a team that loves Maul, can really pull ahead with some of the strats that they've been cooking for a long time for this map.
Yeah, I can definitely see it being defender-sided, right? Map's one of those types of maps where it has, I believe, a lot of the sites more inward. You see a lot of times where people play very aggressive defenses, right? They put these players on the edge to prevent anyone from getting into the map. Think about it. They're on the outside of the map, not even onto the inside. And that's what I'm seeing a lot here, where IvI struggled to gain a lot of ground for the most part. We saw a very contentious first half there. 3-3 between IvI and Valor. That defense for Valor looked so good, but I mean, IvI had such good plays themselves, right? They had a flawless attack. They had an ace coming out there. It looked amazing.
Yeah, and just the thing being though is that Valor, they practice this so much. They practice this map. This is one of their favorites, and the fact that they are playing it today, honestly, probably stunned them because they can run this map so well. They have so many strats cooked up. I don't know which way it could possibly go right now. Meta side dictates IvI, but this is Valor we're talking about.
Valor indeed looking at us out there, but they accidentally get the TK. I don't think they were quite ready for their teammate to come out, as Dusty getting some shots out. Crimson though with a finish up on the plunge, leading now just that 4-3 for Valor. That's giving them a slight advantage. But again, they are going to be attacking this IvI defense, which we've seen, again, on map 1, how well they did holding it down and having several flawless defenses on top of those flawless attacks.
And here we see the approach right onto the site. Some possible little sneaky deaky plays. We can't say anything. We can't say anything. But not everybody is full health either. There has been some damage. And we see a potential interesting little situation on the horizon right here as Dusty finds Swift. Swift was trying to find Jim, so wasn't quite able to get it. Ash going down, Crimson getting the kill. Sleetso, last alive, trying to defend the side as best as he can. Pushing up, getting Crystal into his head and taking him down. As Sleetso gets a kill with the static.
Oh no, the static!
The static kill. The first one beer and Melcom right there, I think. Unless something else happened up on the main stage.
That's one of my favorite things, honestly, about Breachers. You see the little ring around the rosy because players are so close, right? Close in terms of these engagements. You see them having to like dodge and weave in and out of each other. Obviously, things are impacting now with the place-based nerfs, but hey, people are working around those nerfs and working with the new adjustments that the Breachers developers have been working on the last year, as you can see.
Yeah, and it's always fun seeing the little interesting fun deaths that can happen from weird util. Like one of my favorite is Stealth Proxy killing himself with the breaching foam back in I believe that was season 2, right?
Dude, that's how funny it was. It's been so long standing. I remember being on that cast and me and Bob were just like laughing out loud. And that part had something like, hey guys, maybe we shouldn't be laughing at these players. These are barely important moments. I'm like, I know. Well, that's a good meme that I've seen one.
It's a meme, and Proxy took it very well. He was a very good sport about it.
Oh, definitely. That's what I love about these players. We've been around for several years now. The community has developed so much. I love seeing the culture that has been developed around the Breachers community, whether it's people just having fun, enjoying themselves, or just coming out here to con and saying hello to everyone, and seeing people that you've known. You know, think about it. Some of these players have known each other for years, but they have never met in person.
True, and this is the opportunity to do so. We all get to come here, have fun, watch some high-level gameplay, and just enjoy a good time. Like, it's been an awesome time out here in Phoenix, but we do see the begin of the begin of the entry into the building from Valor as they start working their way through.
We'll see how Valor decides to approach their attack a little differently than IV, right? Remember, what we had noticed from the IV attack, it tended to take a little bit longer of a setup against Valor. Maybe, credit to the Valor defense, maybe IV just likes taking a longer setup. We'll see if Valor does approach it the same way, or they play it a little bit differently, as Drone is going to be out there giving some intel to the Valor squad. We'll see if they can respond and utilize that and capitalize on the information gained by that. A minute left in the round now as the breach finally coming out for the Valor squad, but the great incendiary is Dusty knocking out Proxy for the count.
And here we go, that man advantage finally kicking in. Dusty managing to utilize some of his util. We see that incendiary blocking off as IvI is just looking to hold on to the space that they have. Valor looking for any little limb, anything that they can capitalize off of to get even more of an advantage.
I think one of the coolest things you can see at Con is some of these players, I don't know if they can get a shot from that, but players just taking a break because there's a lot of pressure being up here. They can take that time to sit down his ass, knocking out Crimson, but that re-wrapping out, but from a wound, still a 4-3 advantage for the Valor squad. They got to
come on, IvI, win this.
Knocking down IvI with count, minimizing the advantage that they currently have right now. It's 30 seconds in the round. Jim goes in for the swing. Sneaks now ready for that, leaving just Wound and Dusty going in for the plant now.
That run-up was something. Jim's just went for that. But here we see the counter push coming in. The post plant set up Swift, getting his first pick onto Jim's, taking him down. But it's not over yet. Wound rocking that Marui, making sure nobody can touch it, putting in as much pre-fire as he can. They are looking to deny anything that Swift could possibly do.
Time is counting down. EMP is counting down. Swift's got to make some swift action here. I don't want to curse them myself here, but hey, it's looking pretty close.
It's looking like it. It's looking like it. I mean, again, this is a map that Valor loves. This is one that they have trained a lot on. This is one that they utilized. They kept in their back pocket.
They kept it in their back pocket, and it's paid out in dividends. I mean, 5-3 is looking really good. Again, they have 2 more rounds that they have to win against IV, but if they get one more in the pocket, they've at least secured themselves that overtime at the bare minimum. But IvI, I don't think wants them to win out. This is a very important round for Valor because if they can get 6 rounds, they've secured themselves that overtime. I don't think IvI wants that. They want to be able to win this one outright and win this in 2 maps instead of going to a map here.
Definitely. I mean, IV wants to move on to the main stage, but Valor says no, that is our spot. They want that spot on the main stage. It's hard to say because the 3 teams that you can think of when you think best in breachers, it's Acer, Valor, and IvI. And it's a toss-up. Everybody has a different opinion, I feel like, on who is actually the best. And we're getting to see it play out right here.
I think the disagreement just shows how close some of these games and how some of these teams are to each other. It showcases, hey, this isn't a stale game. These teams aren't always definitively winning. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, but definitively winning every single thing out here. I'm enjoying the pizza that we have later. I'm just imagining it, right?
No, you're enjoying the Jimmy John's we have.
I'm enjoying the Jimmy John's right across the street, right? I really enjoy that. Shout out to Jimmy John's. I'm just kidding. We're going to go to the sponsor segment. I'm just kidding. As we are getting ready for this breach now for the Valor squad, IV having to finally fight back and yet prevent this securing of an overtime round. They don't want that. They want to be able to win this one into at least definitively.
We do see some setup having been done. Not quite the time that Valor has decided that they're going to strike. It's still a 5-5. Nobody's taken damage. A couple pre-fires have gone out, not quite landed anything. The wall goes. Arcade is open. And Slitzo rotates over, tries to see if he can find anything early. Eye attack, throwing down Incendiary, chunking down Slitzo, but Slitzo makes it out.
A lot of damage from the Incendiary. I'm surprised they were able to make that one work out for the IV defense. Flash is coming out by the Valor squad. It's a Valor. Slitzo knocks him down for the count, leaving just 4 on the Valor side. Again, 5-3. They want to win this one out. They're down a player, but they can still very much come back. But it's a minute left. Pressure is going to start ramping up here.
Yeah, Slitzo making sure that he gets that early advantage, really looking to claim some rounds for his team. a massive, massive competitor for IvI. He's put in a lot of work. Looks like Dusty is going to take a Foxy. Ash goes down to Jim's, and here we go. The Man of Edge just swung violently into Valor's favor. Crimson finding Sleetso. It is 2 people left on IviI's side. Can they actually pull it off? No. Dusty has taken down Swift. It is 1 person left. Punch down, but he is not able to stop the 1v4. And that is match for Valor. Backs against the wall for this map. For IvI, a complete flip around from what we saw on the last map.
Jimmy, 6-3, 6-3. It's looking really good right now for Valor. You're right, this is apparently their map choice, and it's worked out very well in their favor. Valor on the IB side as we go into potentially a map 3. You gotta be thinking, how do we want to approach that last map? What choice do we even make to really knock down Valor for the count? Because remember, this is a best of 3. They have to win 2 total maps out of this 3 map series. We've already seen one from the IB players. We're maybe going to see one from Valor unless IB has something to say about that. But I mean, this momentum from Valor is looking a little bit unstoppable.
It's looking really powerful right now. This is why I was super happy when I found out we got this match, was because this is the matchup I wanted to see. I wanted to see a 3-map slugfest between a team that is insane with on-the-fly chemistry versus the masters of strategy and breachers.
Yeah, I'm going to give credit to the main stage. I mean, who knows? F3 might be playing out their hearts right now, and they might be going to their own map 3, but we'll see that as we move forward in the future. Let the cards fall where they can as Valor. Now trying to see if they can secure themselves the match point, the map win for map 2 as they go in 6-3 again, a very definitive lead for the time being.
We do see early util going out for denial from entry into the building. Early wallbangs coming out, finding a little bit of damage, but not quite doing enough to matter. Swift finding his way out of Hell's Kitchen.
Hell's Kitchen indeed is the blind fires coming out from these wall banks, trying to tag just one of these IB players, but plunge, knocking out Dusty for the count as Ida goes in for a great angle there for Foxy, knocking out another one of the Valor players. Again, Valor, this is one of those sites where it's hard to secure areas as Ida knocking out plunge down for the count. Now leaving just the 4 players on the IB side, but 3 looking really good for the Valor players.
We do see some damage coming into the equation, but maybe they have something to fix that. We see orals across the board versus the meta weapons. This is interesting. How is this going to come out? Are the cheaper guns in higher volume going to take down the one-hitters?
We'll see if they can hold down those players. 1 minute left on the clock. 4 players on the IB side and only 3 in Valor. They have some time. We've seen Valor execute some amazing attacks, but they gotta coordinate this very well. Otherwise, you might be seeing some of these players go down for the count on the Valor's side.
And we do see wallbangs coming out. The first wall going out. It looks like Kitchen is exposed. And we haven't quite seen any push just yet. It looks like intel is trying to be gathered. I adapt. Crimson and Wound looking to see what they can work with, and Ash accidentally kills Swift with a nade. No!
You gotta be so careful about how you approach utility from these ones here. As Valor getting sunny, no! Crimson getting a 2K there, we're getting refragged, leaving just Sleep so light to go.
This is what I wanted. A back and forth Valor, the masters of strategy, versus IvI, the chemistry gods.
I mean, I wasn't sure what to expect. We saw the momentum really ramp up by the Valor players, kept going all the way, and obviously we've seen out at the very end here. But IvI was doing so good on map 1. I thought it would carry over to map 2. Didn't quite happen here, but I think that's a very deliberate choice by the Valor players.
I think Valor just knows that map better. They worked so hard for it.
It looked amazing, but unfortunately we'll be having to take a quick break as we go in